Hello everybody, I am in my camper. It's the middle of the winter, I'm all alone. Nobody's coming out here, nobody's gonna be coming out here for several weeks, maybe months, depends on what the weather is doing this year. Yeah, so I'm just sort of hanging out in the camper, which is more like a storage shed, which I sleep in. Yeah, so at my dad's funeral last week, it was requested by some people that I reunited with over several years of absence, that I show them some of the rocks that I picked up, because some people got to see a couple of rocks. I was giving out a couple of rocks here and there, showing off a couple of rocks, but I have a couple of rocks at the campsite here, and I got a couple more rocks at home, but yeah, I'll just start with some of the basics. Georgia, this is what you need to know about gold mining in Georgia, is rotoul, or some people call it rutile. It's just basically a bunch of black lines on a rock. Yeah. This is hornblende schist. This is a host rock for gold ore around here. You can see some gold in there. And basically it's rotoul, or rutile, and it's got this little green layering in it. I don't know how well you can see that green layering in there, and with that shiny rotoul crystal. But you flip it around and you look for little bits of gold, and if it's got gold in it, then you take it home and crush it up and get the gold out, or you keep it as a little display piece like that. So that's Georgia gold ore. Other than that, you're going to find it as placer, just out in the woods, like out there. Look for little rounded rocks like that, kind of smoothed out rounded rocks like that. This is jet, and a little bit of something that I'm not even quite sure what is yet, and the stuff that I don't know what is yet, here's some more of it. Okay, it's just nothing but green. Somebody said it must be some type of muscovite schist or mica schist, but it's all in tiny little bits, and when you grind out a window, it's got little bits of iron inside, so it's got to have something to do with gold. Here's some more jet. Picked this up out of my favorite spot. If you hold it in the right angle, it kind of looks like a skull, but it's got a little bit of shitty Georgia jet black stick tourmaline in it. And over there, okay, you get a lot of black stuff here in Georgia that's basically completely worthless. So here's some I think that's just some more jet. Here's some kind of fun stuff. It's quartz that had iron magnetite in it, and the iron magnetite has rusted out and turned into Georgia red clay, because that's what iron does. It rusts and turns red and mixes in with the clay and turns the clay really nasty red color that stains everything. And I got some more rocks roundabouts. Well, there's a big chunk of green glass. It's not really rock. Here's a chunk of gold ore I picked up in Colorado. Kind of pretty. Oh yeah. It's got it's about 90% lead, and that's not really gold. That's mostly copper and zinc and pyrite, and there's a little bit of gold in there, but there's a little bit of platinum in there too. So you really gotta know what you're doing, and your acids and all that kind of stuff. It's a big pain in the butt you don't want to really do with it. So it's just kind of pretty to look at and have and hold, and You can cut it up into jewelry if you want. Speaking of cutting stuff into jewelry, I've got this. Here's some fluorite from my Colorado venture this past season. I took a grinder to this one and a belt sander and shaped it up a little bit, trying to get some shapely action going on with some of this stuff. There's another one, and there was just a couple of real small manageable pieces that I got back. Here's a piece I tried to make into a tomahawk head. That's kind of cool. And kind of see some layers in there. It's still kind of clear, and you put a little light coating of oil on it and hope it doesn't turn white, shitty white on you like this piece did. It doesn't have much clarity or color to it left, just a little bit, but this is just a very, very thin sheet of stuff they were calling butylated petroidal fluorite, and it's basically the shittiest stuff that you can get. This stuff right here is just standard fluorite, as were those pieces that I showed you that had been cut with a saw or sanded on a belt sander. This piece over here, it got cut with a saw. It was a nice big chunk, solid chunk. It's got nice clarity to it. It weighs about 15 pounds, and it's worth about $15 per pound as a flux to bring metal to a melting temperature at a much lower temperature than it's supposed to melt in regular conditions. So they were hitting the place where this came from real hard right around before World War II, so they could stock up on guns and stuff. Here's another big chunk that's about 20 pounds. There's another big chunk that's about 25 pounds. And here's a little 10-pound chunk. It's got a Z running through it. Isn't that cute? Yeah. And over here I got some more fluorite, but this is from up on the mountain. This is what they call octahedral fluorite. It's got all these cute little crystals on it that are actually 8-sided crystals. In this cluster, they're not 8-sided, but they're, they form little pyramids. Let's try to get it out in the sunlight. I don't know how in focus this camera is going to be, but yeah, it makes little triangles. Not your standard crystal formation. This is a standard crystal formation. This came from South Carolina, a little place they called the Diamond Hill Mine. It's just basically all quartz anywhere in there, and this happens to be white skeletal quartz. And this is another piece of the octahedral fluoride. And as you can see, there's a couple of different colors. There's a little purple vein running down through there. And purple is actually the more desirable color. The next color is green, which I also have some, well, it's not as green. This spot right here next to my thumb's kind of green. I need to bash this thing with a hammer or something, get all the way through that vein. Here's some green right there. And yeah, so green and purple octahedral fluorite And that's what that's one of my main concentrations next year when I go to Colorado, if I can get my hands on that claim. I don't want to be a jumper. I just want to get some cool crystals, rocks, and stuff like that. So, you know, and then under here I got more fluorite, and under here I got more fluorite. So, just trying to keep it out of the sun best I can. Oh yeah, here's another jug of fluorite. You know, just kind of crappy stuff that really just needs to be thrown in the rock tumbler if I want to try to get any results out of it that are worth a damn. But anyway, it's about time to head down to the digging spot. Show y'all the new and improved wash plant. It's basically the old wash plant with a few more parts and pieces, because I went back down to Florida and visited my cousin's shop since the last time I made a wash plant video. And I might have to check it as usual. Sure, I locked my car. Occasionally we do get kids that come out here on their dirt bikes looking to cause trouble. And as usual, I'm going to need to switch hands and the camera angle is going to get all funny. Thing that makes everybody slow down when they're driving down the road. They're like, oh, wow, look at that. That's like a real wash plant. It's almost like a real wash plant. I need a little bit bigger spray bar and, you know, maybe a couple of other people to help with some of this stuff. Because I got rock buildup, and I got dirty rocks, and I got rocks that come out, you know, still have mud and stuff all over them, all the way down at the very bottom. That's how I got such a solid dam going on here. This right here, this pile of crap right here, this is all tailings from couple of years ago when I came down here and ran stuff. That's the actual bank right there, and yeah, it just sort of flowed on out. The water used to come down and go around that way and piled on up, and now I got it working it back down around this way, and I'm gonna dredge this out and shoot it into that hole into the bank that somebody dug over there 10 or 15 years ago, and fix that hole in the bank with tailings. And eventually I'm going to be moving over there, over through the trees to that spot, and I'm going to fill my current hole up with tailings. But for now, I'm going to follow the bedrock hit bedrock here. You see all this? This is the bottom of the bowl here, and all these nice little Easter egg rounded rocks here. That's where the gold's going to be hiding. Is in there with these little rounded rocks and this mud and grit and sand and stuff, and that's what all that shit up there is meant for, is to wash all that mud and sand and stuff off those rocks and get the gold to drop out of that mix of nastiness. And this is about the nastiest stuff that you can work with, is this thick, old, ancient mud flow on top of this broken bedrock with silt and all this other stuff stuck to it. And then you take these big rocks over here, like this chunk of bedrock that it's rotten. It's all chipping away, very easily chipping away, and it's got little layers of stuff where it's gotten really weak, and it's got silt. It's got silt all over it. You see that? See how greasy and nasty that is? And so I gotta take this brush right here, this wire brush, or what's even better is this welcome mat stuff. This stuff is great. It's the exact same texture as the steel brush, except you can't rip your hand open on one of these mats. And so your rocks will build up here, and then you take a big handful and you just scrub them down real good all over this mat. And then you can take the screen and you can screen out some of the pebbles and stuff like that and set them aside so you can throw them in your driveway at your campsite. So once I get all the way down to bedrock, down over here, like I'm saying, I'm going to go over here to this part of the hillside where you can see every bit of this is all virgin ground. Nobody ever messed with any of this stuff. This is all good stuff. I haven't found any mercury in any of this stuff. I found mercury over there on the other side of this main ditch running down the side of this mountain here, but nothing over here has any mercury on it or appears to have ever been touched or moved at all. It's all just these nice round rocks and little bitty rocks and cute little chunk of crystal quartz. But the sandy stuff and little cobblestones is just screaming out, there's gold here, there's gold here. Lots of good, nice placer chunks of gold. And then I came over here, did a little sample. Lots of rocks up here, and then a couple of rocks, and then it's just mud. It kind of fizzles out, and then more rocks down at the bottom. Did the same thing over here. A little bit thicker line, but you can kind of see that there was rocks, and then nothing, and then more rocks, and that's you know, that's good stuff. That's what you're really looking for with good placers. Layers, different layers where the stuff's settled out. And when you get down to bedrock, ain't nothing getting past that bedrock. I mean, you get through some of those cracks and little bits of stuff where it's all falling apart, and get down to the nice solid stuff that doesn't have any cracks in it. You got it all. Unless you find a crack that keeps on going down. And then you can break down into that with a pry bar, or if you're in the right area and you got the right kind of permits, you use dynamite and get down in there. Make sure you get the rest of that gold. But anyway, I'll start up my pump and see how things are running today. I gotta basically take this whole setup apart whenever I do a cleanup. because number one, my hose isn't long enough, which I guess is an easy fix, but number two, because I can't really have this stuff wash out into an easy container just the way it is. Plus, I don't really want to run everything all the way down the sluice and have it in one bunch. I like to clean out that section and that section and put it in one bucket, and then have all this just a basic black sand collector, and you know, any little bits of stuff that feel like falling off on this little cheese grater right here. Looks like I got a little bit of a rooster tail, and the water is not running even on this side, so I have to fix that. Just take a rock, stick it up there, under here like this, and then kind of wiggle that rock around until it looks good. I guess that looks good, pretty good, good enough. And then down here, that side is a little bit low. So I'm grabbing a rock from over here and stick it up under this corner right here. And that helps a little bit. And look at the lower end, and the lower end looks pretty good. Cycling back around, and there it is. And that's what I have to do. I have to have a settling pond right here where all the muddy rocks and chunks of stuff sit and get nice and moist and ready to be dredged and spat into that hole. It separates out of the water, and then the nice clean, well, nasty water, chocolate milk, but doesn't have chunks of stuff in it, goes back down there to my trash pump, where it would be okay if it was sucking up chunks of stuff anyway, but you don't really want it to be doing that, because that can wash gold out of your stuff. This is the main reason I have to circulate my water. This isn't really a creek, this is like a spring-fed swamp. That is the actual water flow in here today, and the only reason it's blowing that strong today is because it rained real good last night. So I really have to watch what happens to the water here. I have to make every drop go back down here, and anything that's dripping up there needs to be reimbursed by that water coming down from up there to make this work. Otherwise, you gotta shut it down in like an hour. Yeah, it looks like my stopper is a little too high. Gotta have the water flow. I don't care how it flows over the truck bed here, you know, just needs to flow right. And I know you're looking at that and you're like, oh, that guy put his sluice together uneven. Well, this is a service sluice, so you can walk up to it and you can have your hand be like here, and you can be splashing stuff all up onto here, and most likely it won't fly out because your working level is like this, and this is never gonna get built up. So, you know, I had the idea that maybe somebody might be helping me when I made this sluice, but yeah, I'm just sort of doing it solo for the most part. And that's how the wash plant is set up. So now I will take some of this pre-soaking overnight rotten bedrock stuff and just kind of dump it right on in there. see it. Nasty, nasty water. It just keeps on coming. Nothing built up yet. Looks like this is the first rock to fall down, and it got stuck. But look at it. The spray bars didn't wash all that off. It's still got stuff on it. Okay. So it goes down here, gets scrubbed off on this mat. Oh, hey, look at that. Nice and clean. Yeah, if there was any gold stuck to that, it's not anymore. And here's another piece. It's not as dirty, but it's still got a little bit of mud on it. So, again, the whole point of this is to try to give as much of a chance to this stuff as you can to wash all that mud off before it winds up back down there. Separate the little bits of gold, iron, and magnetite. The iron and the magnetite have gold in it. You want to separate all that stuff out of this nasty mud and little bits of quartz and rotten bedrock chunks. Get all the heavy stuff. Separate it from the light stuff. And all that mud. That ain't gonna clean up in the spray bars. I definitely need to scrub that off. Why am I scrubbing this so vigorously? Because gold is really heavy and this bedrock is really rotten stuff. I mean, look at these cracks in this stuff. And how easily that shit just breaks apart. It just breaks apart. And it's muddy. And you never know where there could have been just a tiny little vein of gold running through some of that stuff. Because it's all rotten, you can't really see what's going on. I mean, I've found rotten veins of quartz running through the actual creek with rotool and stuff like that running through it, and you can't even really tell. It just turns to mush when you go to grab onto it. And there are little, solid bits of stuff inside, and where you find your solid bits of stuff, that's all your precious and semi-precious minerals, your crystals and your gold, the things that are harder to break down over time in the dark anyway. Underground things are in the dark and they don't break down like things break down in the light, like that fluorite stuff does. The petroidal fluorite, I think, is probably a lot more sensitive than the octahedral fluorite. I'm not sure exactly why, but I'm just not that good yet. But I do try to obey the rules of the club and take some of my tailings and fill up old holes, and I stay here and get as much gold as I can. Free gold! Woohoo! Yeah, I mean, $20 a month and $50 a year and $5 extra per year, 10, maybe 50, I don't know what it is extra. It's no more than $20 extra per year to have a camper here, or a shed on wheels, or whatever on wheels. And come out here and camp out, dig for gold. Some people just come here and camp out and read books and can't stand the sound of a motor off in the distance. Whatever, they get all pissed off about it. Kind of like the people you encounter in the national forest out there. They built their house in the middle of the national forest, and anytime they see a hiker or a tourist or something, they're like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" Kind of contradictory stuff, you know. But, you know, people do that. People, you know, come out here and camp out and just hang out and don't bother anybody or anything like that, typically. I mean, every once in a while somebody will be like, "Oh, it's getting close to after hours. You know, turn off that motor," or whatever. But some people will come out here in the middle of winter time and work all night long. You know, they'll be out here with their generator and their floodlights and all that stuff. And, you know, be out here until sunrise and then go in and pass out and wake up about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon and come back out and do it again. Yeehaw. So yeah, washing rocks. Just out here washing rocks. Looking for cool rocks and gold. Or, well, looking for gold and cool rocks. They're pretty clean. I mean, some of them still have a little bit of mud on them, but you don't really get anywhere unless you do quantity of product running through here. Besides, it is a club. You're not supposed to get it all, but it's also a learning platform. You know, it's good to know how to get it all in case you need to get it all. You know, I like to be able to know how to get it all. Besides, this stuff's worth money, and it's not like, this thing's worth money, it's cool, you want to buy it? No, I'll just go find somebody else to buy it. No, I mean, gold, pretty much take to just about anybody and they'll be like, "Yep, I will buy that from you right now." And that's why gold is the most important thing in my little world of mining. Anyway, I gotta use 2 hands to dig now. So thanks for watching my little video. And I will be having another video coming up soon, specifically on roasting black sand. It's going to be done in the daylight, and so after the shocking of the black sand, I will be panning the black sand out so that you can actually see what's really going on in real time and all that, but that's going to require a cameraman, so I need somebody out here, so that might take a little while. So it's coming up. It might not be the next video, but it's coming up. Make sure you go down in the little section below this and you just like click on the video and you'll see one of, like a thumb up, thumb down. Click on the thumbs up so that other people will eventually be linked to this video, and people will start seeing my video, and people will be like, oh, I mean, there's somewhere else in the world where I could actually go and find gold, and I can leave my equipment set up for months and months at a time and just leave it here and it'll be okay. And you know, like 99% of all the other clubs in the world make you take absolutely everything you own out with you at your 14-day limit. Yeah, this club isn't like that. You can do whatever you want here for as long as you want. You're just not allowed to kill anything, and you're not allowed to dig within like 6 feet of a tree. This is erosion. You know, that's the original line right there. This is just erosion. I'm gonna fix all this, okay? And yeah, don't dig within 25 feet of the creek. That's the big things here. Don't kill anything. Don't dig within, you know, the length of from the tree and then the creek thing. Yeah, and that's it. You know, come on out and have fun. Check out their website at weekendgoldminers.com, and come on down to Georgia and run by Chris Son Gold Mine in Dahlonega. Give them, I think it's still $90. They'll give you a key to the property then and there. You come on down and get some gold. Make sure you spend a couple of $100 on some mining equipment there while you're at the store, so you can get something here, because just a pan ain't gonna cut it unless you're me and you already know where to go to get something with just a pan. And yeah, get back with me. Thanks for watching. See ya.